Hey guys, my name is Haley, and we are finally doing the thing because I've been saving it for Pride Month, and I am going to read and watch Heated Rivalry. In this video, I've already read, I think, like 5 or so percent of this. I feel like it's going to be hard for me because I have existed on the internet, and this was also one of the biggest things on the internet over the last, year. I know a lot of the plot points. I know the ones people are obsessed with from the show. So I do have a little bit of preconceived notions going into this as somebody who obviously knows the actors that are playing Shane and Ilya. I get the idea of their literal hockey rivalry. I'm curious if there's going to be anything in reading the book that is not something I've already learned in some way from the internet. We'll see if that happens. I think I'm going to try to find a way to live react to some of the show. We'll see if I remember to do that. If not, I will definitely be coming in and doing recaps and such after I watch each episode. That's the plan. Hopefully, I've heard that a lot of people binge it, and I'm going to try not to do that just for the sake of me remembering to take clips in between. But I'm currently 5%, 9% into the book, and they're already very much thinking about each other. I also didn't realize there was a time jump in here. I assumed there might be, considering I know this takes place over at least a few years, if not longer, because of their rivalry and how they get to the point that they start hooking up. I don't know. I also know all of the jokes. I know the come to my cottage. I know all of the online things. I find both of the actors super attractive and they're funny as hell online. So this should be an interesting thing. I'm just hoping that it is not overhyped. I do think I'm going to like the show more, and that just seems to be the general consensus that people like the book, but they love, 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 love the show and love, 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 love the actors. So I am expecting that. I am lowering my expectations for the book. That's where I'm going to start this vlog. But I'm hoping to get this done over the next few days. This is going to be one of the first videos up for my Pride Month thing. Yes, I am pre-filming, or none of this would get done. And I'm going to jump right back in to my reading. I will update you when I have other things to say. Maybe I'll read a few quotes. I already highlighted several things. Oh, one thing I didn't know is that this starts when they're 17, before they even become adults and get drafted. And I really enjoyed the parts where Shane is thinking about his sexuality. I don't think he's ever realized that he's attracted to men before. So I'm really liking that queer awakening happening in the background of all of this. I love that they're realizing they might be attracted to each other is literally just being at the gym trying to run faster than the other and then drinking out of a water bottle. I'm probably going to have spoilers in this if you have not seen nor read it. This is probably not the video for you because I assume everyone and their mother has read this but me at this point. I also love the line, for the rest of his life, Shane Hollander would have to live with the fact that he had ended his NHL draft day by getting himself off to the thoughts of Ilya Rosanov. Yes. I really like the line, Ilya had more important things to think about than freckles and polite Canadian boys. I also, of the two of them, I'm incredibly attracted to the actor who plays Shane. I can't think of his name right now. He looks like every K-drama actor I've ever seen, and as somebody who was always really attracted to all of them. I know a lot of people are Ilya girls. I'm curious which of the two I'm going to prefer coming out of this, because aesthetically, I can't even think of his name. Aesthetically, I'm more attracted to the actor who plays Shane. But I also know that Ilya's story is more heartbreaking from what I've gathered, so we'll see which side I'm more on. But obviously, I want both of them together, and because this is a romance, I know they're going to end up together. Case in point, we have a perspective from Ilya saying he didn't want to return to Russia at all. He wanted to stay in North America and start the next phase of his life. He didn't want to hear his father, who likely hadn't even watched any of the games, shame him for not bringing home a gold medal. He didn't want to live with his father or depend on anyone anymore. He wanted to be rich and famous and loved and have a huge garage full of sports cars. He wanted expensive clothes and gorgeous women and hot nightclubs. He wanted the weight of his family and his country lifted. He wanted to be himself. That's depressing. Is this book gonna make me cry? I don't know that I've seen anybody cry at the book. I've definitely seen people cry at the show, especially the cottage scene. And I am at the part where they just got cast in a photo shoot for CCM gear. So they're going to be seeing each other even more off of the ice, and I'm excited for more sexual tension. I will update you when another exciting scene happens. Maybe I'll just read a bunch of quotes to fill out this vlog. Again, you're not here for spoilers. I don't know how many spoilers I could possibly give in this video that have not already been said at some point in the internet, in a meme, or in a clip, or talking about the cottage. That is literally the first thing I ever saw about this book and show on the internet, was them talking about, will you come to my cottage? I can assume the context for that. I don't know all of the details, but I will update you later. When you're trying to read Heated Rivalry and your Kindle just like gives up the ghost. I already hard resetted it. Shane and Ilya were too much for the Kindle. The old ass. Oh, that's not even what I had open. Literally not what I had open. Oh, was that a blue screen of death? I just want to read the hockey smut. Hi. It's been more than 12 hours since I last updated, and I've read 90% of Heated Rivalry. I'm going to go through some of my quotes because there's quite a few of them. I could not stop reading, and I have like maybe 10% left. So that means that we're probably going to watch the show today. I think they're like, what, 45 minutes? Not quite an hour, and there's only 6 of them, correct? So we might be able to do all of that today. It's only 2 p.m. And there's an ambulance, like always. I don't know if you can hear it. The window is open, but we live right by a fire station and a hospital. So we hear the sirens all day long. I'm not a like big city person. We definitely don't live in downtown Detroit, but oh my goodness, are the sirens never ending? Especially when you throw the tornado sirens in there with all of the incredibly awful storms we've been having. But all of that is besides the point. I'm going to talk about a few of my quotes and my thoughts on this before I finish it and then jump into the show. I had to scroll all the way back up to like page 30 of this 300 some page book. We have Ilya had more important things to think about than freckles and polite Canadian boys. I also remembered that Connor's Storrie and, oh my god, why do I always forget his name? I think it's because he looks like a lot of K-drama actors and I want to call him by that name. Hudson Williams, that's his name. I love him. Of the two of them and the content of theirs I've seen online, I love Hudson Williams so much and I want to see him in everything. Oh, one thing I really liked in here was Shane's like journey discovering his sexuality. I did not know that was part of this. I assumed both of them like kind of knew they were attracted to men at the start of this, and that definitely was not the case. Why is there a ring light in my glasses? Hold on. I was also supposed to pre-film today, and it's like the lighting's not good enough for me to film very much today outside of vlog clips, so we're going to be filming at random times of the day and week this week for Pride Month. It's fine. Everything's fine. But yeah, I did not know that there was an entire figuring out his sexuality with Shane's storyline in this, which I am very much looking forward to see in the show. I also I feel like it's always been alluded to, and I assume this was why everybody more not relates to, but like feels bad for, I just almost called him Connor's Storrie, feels bad for Ilya's character, is that he's from Russia. I obviously knew he was Russian. I did not realize he was spending a lot of time in Russia still, and obviously there's the whole storyline with his dad and everything. That was the loudest bird I've ever heard in my life. Hello? Filming is not in the cards today, but we're doing it anyways. But the entire storyline with Ilya's dad, and it being obviously illegal to be openly queer in Russia, was so depressing and also made a lot more sense of why this situationship happened and went on for so long. Also, the fact that this is set in the early 2000s before gay marriage was even passed like countrywide here in the US also added to the angst of this, because it wasn't even necessarily, I actually don't know when Canada passed a law for that. Any Canadians, please let me know, because I don't know that off the top of my head. I also loved in the middle of their like first sexual encounter, there's just a line from Shane where he's just like in his head going, fuck. This is really gay. Like, yes, baby, it is. I'm glad you noticed. Oh, I also hated that Ilya's family was like basically living off of his money and like fame, and not in like a, oh, he wants to help his family way, but in a, you're famous, give me all of your money way, even though his brother's a piece of shit and his dad was obviously an asshole. Hated all of that. I also love the representation of Ilya in this, him not like knowing how all of the ins and outs of English work. Like, he does obviously speak English, but there's still like certain phrases and stuff he doesn't quite catch on to, and that's one of the things that Shane picks up on early on. In one of their like interviews with somebody, he notices that Ilya like does not understand what the reporter is asking them and like covers for him, which I thought was so cute. I also loved that they put each other's names in their phones as like some random girls, so people would assume they were just like talking to a booty call if anybody like saw their text messages. Which, what was it? It was like Ilya was Lily and Shane was, I know the first joke was that he was saying Shannon. I think he's in there as Jane. Or one of their scenes. I don't know how much YouTube likes any of these quotes, but we'll find out. We have the Shane got on his hands and knees because that's how this worked, right? He was pretty sure he'd watched about 40 seconds of gay porn once before he got embarrassed and closed the laptop. I actually really enjoyed Shane's relationship with the really famous actress whose name is escaping me right now, and how she like very quickly, and her friend, her gay friend, also very quickly picked up on the fact that Shane might not be straight, even though he wasn't admitting that to himself, because I do think Shane needed someone other than Ilya at that time in his life to talk through things and about how he may not be straight, because he really didn't have anybody to say that to. Also, Shane mentioning the cottage happened so much earlier than I thought it was going to happen. It happened like halfway through the book, and I was like, I swear to God, this is something that happens at the finale of the show, at least. And obviously, I know they end up at the cottage eventually. But like, he had been teasing it for like years before it ever happened. I also loved Ilya being jealous of his girlfriend that he was like eventually ended up coming out to. Ilya like pretending not to care and then finally realizing that he does care. And when they're at the cottage and he finally goes, yeah, no, I haven't slept with anybody in like months either, and it's the first time that has happened in the years that they've been hooking up. And Shane's like, oh. And also, we're skipping ahead, but also that Ilya was the first person to say, he said it in Russian several times first, and then he finally said it in English. He said, I love you, up. I was a mess. And the scene with his dad when he tells Ilya, like, I understand you're upset, just like tell me what happened in Russian, so I'm not gonna understand you, but you will be able to get it all out, was such a cute moment. And I hope that it's in the show. I've never heard anybody talk about that, but I know a lot of people try not to spoil the ending of the show. I think that's all of the scenes I'm going to talk about right now. I'm going to go finish the last 10% of this, and I will let you know when I start the show. I'm not sure how I'm going to film my reactions. I might do a watch 2 episodes and come back and recap. Other than that, it's probably just going to be B-roll of me reacting, because I also share a room with my partner and we don't have a lot of space and I don't want to interrupt anything. So it's probably going to be a mixture of B-roll and then me coming and giving you a recap every 2 episodes or so. I think that's the plan. And I had finished the book and I was way closer to finishing than I thought I was, because there's apparently a whole bonus scene at the end of that of Shane introducing Ilya to Hayden, which is his friend, and them bickering like is probable because Ilya's used to acting that way with other people. But I really like the ending. I'm glad that I knew that there was another book of theirs, which is The Long Game, which I'm currently on the holds list for at my library, and I am jumping right into watching the show. I don't know if I have any thoughts that is different than what I've already covered. I know I really, really liked them opening the charity for named after Ilya's mom, and Ilya got even very vulnerable about it. I love that scene. And that's basically how the book ended. So I'm going to start the show. I'm probably going to do, as I said, B-roll of reactions if I have any. And then I'll recap every 2 episodes or so. That's current plan. Hello, I have watched 2 episodes, and I understand. I understand everything. I get the hype. I got it by reading the book, but I especially get it with the show. I took some notes. I was too enraptured and hooked on what was happening. You're getting an update quicker than 4 episodes in, because I easily could binge all of them and plan to this evening. First, Shane's dad. Love him. He cracks me up. He doesn't know how to use technology or has no idea what's going on. Love him. 2, the first thing I said was, oh my god, Hayden looks like a tool. And I love him. He is perfectly cast. Obviously, Hayden's kind of a dick. He's kind of an idiot. And I feel like his actor did such a good job making that very obvious from his first 2 lines. Love it. Love the casting. But also, holy shit, props to the intimacy coordinators, because the sex scenes are some of the best I've ever seen in television or movie or anything, to be honest. They're so well done and they're so well acted. Shout out to intimacy coordinators in general. As somebody who's done a lot of theater, I've never personally had to work with intimacy coordinators, but I know they're very, very important for keeping actors safe and make sure they feel safe and comfortable on set. And I do believe, if I'm remembering correctly, both Connor Storrie and Hudson Williams have talked about loving their intimacy director. So I also have a friend who is one for the stage. They are the unsung heroes of a lot of media. Text messaging is one of my favorite things in any form of media. If you've not been here before, I talk all the time about how one of my favorite fan fictions of all time was the Kurt and Blaine one. Little Numbers, which is an accidental text message situation. So anytime text is brought into media, especially books or shows, I love it so much, and they incorporated it so well in this. I also fucking cackle at the scene where he's in the hotel room with Hayden and Ilya sends him a dick pic. It was so fucking funny, and his reaction, perfect. No notes. Also, I can't tell who the other person on Ilya's team is. I have not read the rest of the series. I don't know who it is. But the guy who comes up to Ilya going, you're blushing, man. I'm sure that girl will be waiting for you or something. And Ilya goes, never in my life have I blushed. Russians do not do this. I love him. I love him so much. I like him a lot more with Connor Storrie's acting. Not that I didn't like him in the book, but I think Connor Storrie did such a good job with him. And one of my other big notes was, I can't remember if Scott Hunter was present for the conversation at the Olympics when they're in Russia, talking about how it's illegal to be openly gay or queer in any way in Russia. I don't remember if he was in that scene in the book. I also couldn't tell you who Scott Hunter was in the book, besides the fact that he's the guy that comes out at the end of the book that gives Shane and Ilya the boost they need to be oh, maybe we can do this, because he comes out very publicly on television. But I loved the addition of having him in that scene. If he wasn't in the book, I can't remember. But seeing his reaction as well as Shane's, and Shane immediately obviously being concerned for Ilya, that was such a good scene. But yes, I'm going to finish. I think I have a sex scene left in episode 2, and then I'm going to move on to episode 3 and 4. I'll check back in when I have more to say. We're at the cottage. I'm not good. I understand. I understand why everybody's obsessed with this last year. I'm late to the party. Hey, hi, hello. It is the next day. Did I update you between episodes 3 and 4 and when I said I was going to? No. Did I know there was a Scott's Hunter episode? No. I was so surprised that I genuinely forgot to update for the rest of the night, and then by the time we got to the cottage, it was game over. So I did take notes. There's the good news. I think we left off on episode 2. Jesus. So my notes for the Scott Hunter episode, which was episode 3, were, oh my god, are we getting a Scott Hunter episode? Is that Kip? Oh my god, he's so fucking cute. I really like the actor who plays Scott Hunter a lot. I'm really glad that they added this in. I knew that Scott Hunter was in the show. I did not know that him and Kip got their entire own episode, basically. Correct me if I'm wrong for people who have read the whole series. Is this not the romance from the first book that everybody doesn't like as much as he did Rivalry? Because I was so hooked on them. I loved them so much. They were so cute. I also loved Kip's dad. I will be so for real with you. The first thing I did after that episode was go download Game Changer, which I think is the first book. So I'll be reading that for Pride Month, apparently. And then episode 4, I barely took any notes. One being them calling each other by their first names. That sex scene was so good. It was so emotional. Shane's freak out. Perfect. I also love the actress they casted for Rose. I really like Rose in the book, and I'm so glad that they casted her so well. She's so cute. She's perfect for the role. I also wrote down that the song they used for the club scene, where they running into each other, dancing with other people at the club, that song was perfect. I also went and downloaded the entire soundtrack, and I can feel the obsession coming on a little bit. I also spent maybe an hour before going to bed watching Connor Storrie and Hudson Williams edits and interviews, which I'm pretty sure the entire rest of the world did last fall, and I'm just now catching up. And then episode 5, I had a shit ton of notes, and then episode 6, I was just screaming. So I will read the notes verbatim. Rose asking about Shane's sexuality, that entire scene was perfect. The only thing that I feel could have been changed, and to be fair, I don't, even though I read the book right before watching the show, do not remember where that scene took place. I felt that it was weird that it took place in public. But I also imagine it was a really expensive restaurant based on who the two of them are, so I don't think they would have been overheard by anybody. But I thought it was a weird choice to do it in public when that's Shane's worst fear is that anybody could eavesdrop. But also Rose was so good with it. Her one line was, she was I was in theater school. 70% of my boyfriends have left me for other guys. And I was oh shit, it's me. I love Rose so much. I don't know if she has appearances in other books. Somebody please tell me that, because I will happily read those. I imagine she might show up in their other book, which is The Long Game. There was also the scene with Shane and Ilya where he finally brings up the whole it's not safe to be queer in Russia. And he goes, what would happen to you? And Ilya says, I don't want to find out. And I was ha, ouch. And then Ilya made me fucking sob. Do I remember which scene that was? No, but I feel it was a few scenes in this episode. It was sad. I also know there was a very serious scene where Ilya's dad dies, and he obviously had a very contentious relationship with his dad. But the voicemail where Shane's trying to get a hold of him, and I know it was such a serious scene, but the voicemail of, hey, this is Ilya, I will never listen to your voicemail, made me fucking chuckle. That was so good. Oh, I also really loved the way Connor Storrie acted out the scene where Shane gets taken out in the middle of the hockey game and gets knocked out and he gets rushed to the emergency room. The way that was acted of Ilya being shell-shocked on the ice, these two are such good actors. I cannot get over. Not only is it such a good adaptation, they're just such good actors that it blows me away. And there was the scene of Rose talking to Shane about how he's gonna come out to his parents. And she was tell them I'm gay and you got sick of being my beard. And I was oh my god, I love her so much. I love the actress so much. I love Rose as a character so much. I also fucking sobbed at Scott and Kip's like kiss on the ice where like they come out in front of like the whole world. Adding in the episode of just them was such a good idea. It made that moment hit so much harder. And then I wrote, he's coming to the fucking cottage in all caps. I think I even have a clip of that earlier. I'm pretty sure I took a clip of me like sobbing and saying he's coming to the cottage because that was literally all I heard on the internet for months. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? Now I know. And then the all caps for episode 6 were stupid Canadian wolf bird. About the loon. Funny as fuck. Then we have the good morning, I like you. And I was like, this entire episode was just cute as fuck. And then the iconic, I love you, holy shit. Perfect. And then I just wrote that I really like Shane's parents. I like the way they handled the whole situation. I liked them in the book, but I feel like the actors did a really good job with this entire scene, with how dramatic it was in the book. I know a lot of queer kids coming out do not have that experience, and I'm so glad that Shane had that. They had enough going on with the problems between Shane and Ilya not being able to come out, whether it be because Ilya couldn't ever go back to Russia if he came out as queer, or if it's the fact that they're rivals and the fans wouldn't understand and it could ruin both of their careers. But I'm so glad that the parents that were involved were so affirming and helpful, because they did not need any more issues on top of everything that was already going on. And I really like that the credits were just them being cute together in the car. Does anybody know? Because I actually, trying to avoid spoilers for this, I have no clue. Are they filming episodes for The Long Game, for like the second book of Shane and Ilya? Do we know that? Because I know the book ends like with a little jump forward, like 15 months to when, I believe it's when Ilya goes to join the Ottawa team so they can like see each other more often. Does anybody know if they're filming that? Because I would like Hudson Williams and Connor Storrie and everything. I also fear that if I even look up one edit on TikTok of Heated Rivalry, I will never come back from that void. So I've been sticking to YouTube so far of all of the like official Crave clips of them doing their like K-pop ass interviews. That's the only way I can describe them. It looks like every interview every like K-pop idol does coming to America for like a tour on like BuzzFeed and all of the like random channels. That's what every single one of these Crave interviews looks like to me, and I find it so funny because they're so lost. They have no idea what's going on. But yeah, that was my experience reading and watching Heated Rivalry. I get it. I get it. I understand. I know I'm late to the party, but I also feel like I was right on time. I feel like I needed this at this point in my life. But if you enjoyed this, please leave me the hockey stick emoji in the comments down below if you don't have anything to say. Please let me know what all of your thoughts were on the show. Let me know your favorite part of the show, or something that you wish could have been changed if you have anything in mind. The only one I can really think of is the scene of Rose and Shane having that really serious conversation about Shane's sexuality out in public. I felt like that was a weird choice, and it could have happened that way in the book and I didn't remember. I will also say this is one of the most faithful adaptations I've ever seen in my life. And that's coming from someone whose favorite book to movie adaptations is The Hunger Games. And I feel like this is probably on par with that. But yes, I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for watching. Please stick around for all of the Pride Month shenanigans I have going on this month. I'm going to be posting a lot of vlogs, a lot of book recommendations. This is one I've been saving up for a few months, but I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time.